Welcome to Real Judaism with Rabbi Ari Klapper. Unfiltered wisdom for Jewish life.
Hashem continuing here at the very beginning, Chelek Daled, on the second page of Chelek Daled on Daf Kuf Ayin Daled, we're in the bottom paragraph. We were talking about how a melech, the king of a group, has to have sheichus to that group. So we brought an example that the lion is the king of the wild animals, whereas the ox is the king of the domesticated animals. And you can't mix and match because everything has to have sheichus. Every king has to have sheichus over the people that he's a king over. There has to be some kind of connection between them in order to be a king. To be a ruler, anybody can be a ruler over anything, right? You can rule over animals also, even if you're a human being, but that's not a king. That's not a king. Anybody can be sholet. Anybody can be a person who has dominion over, right? But in order to be the king, there has to be a connection between the people and the king. So that's where we are. V'chein besugo odom, the bottom paragraph. V'chein besugo odom, and the same thing when it comes to man. She'ikar koicho isov boim lidei bitui b'masha oisem maisim toivim v'bechira v'rotzon. What makes a person, what brings out his koichos, is that he has the ability to do good deeds with his own desire, with his own choice. He has free will, right? It's one of the major tenets of Judaism is that we believe in reward and punishment. Reward and punishment. For good deeds, we get reward, and for bad deeds, a person gets punished. That is a major part of Bechira. If a person does not have Bechira, then there would be no sense to have reward and punishment. It's not my fault. I'm just a robot. Why are you punishing a robot for it? He's programmed to do that. Punish the programmer, but not the robot himself. The robot himself doesn't have a mind. He's whatever it's programmed to do. Even AI is programmed to do what it does. So therefore, it doesn't have a mind. It doesn't have free choice. It does what it's told to do. And if it's programmed to do something, it'll do that. But that's what makes man unique. And therefore, when it comes to the Malchus, the melech of man, it comes from the aspect of being a human being, of having choice. L'moshel, melech shu chacham u'bal chesed noisin bitui l'malchus ayidei shebekoyach chachmasoi v'chasadav boinei betoich medina b'tei cholim v'rufos kol cholim u'machov. So a king can bring out his bechira, and can show his choice to have chesed and his chachma. He can show that by building hospitals, building places of chesed for his subjects. That's how we see here on the very, very bottom of Daf Kuf Ayin Daled. There we see that a king is bringing out his uniqueness, his humanity out. Right? Because he's a human being, and there's a connection. His melech is not something that's supernatural, a super king. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, who was the closest thing that we had to a malach, maybe Eliyahu Hanavi, right? But in terms of the level of kedusha, the level of ruchnius that a human being reached, that he was in Shamayim, we're human beings, and Moshe Rabbeinu and all the kings of Yehuda were human beings. So there's a sheichus. If the nation doesn't understand the king, they don't understand his goodness. They don't understand what chesed means. They have no idea what chachma is. They don't know. What does it help that he built these hospitals and the king built the hospitals? There's nobody going to be able to work in the hospitals. Right? And they don't know what it means to try to heal somebody. They don't have any chachma. They don't have the concept of chesed, of helping others. There's no such thing. Who's going to be in these hospitals? Right? It's going to turn into either nothing, or it's going to be turned into something like Mengele did, which he, the doctor who, had his, whatever you want to call it, his slaughterhouse, and under the guise of, medicine, did all kinds of cruel things. So, Is that batei cholim? Is that what a hospital is? If a person doesn't have an understanding of chesed and chachma, So, if anything, these things can be turned for worse if they're going to be used at all. And the sick people themselves, they won't even know. This is a place where you're supposed to go to try to, find a cure, find medication, find a mahalach to heal yourselves. They won't know. There needs to be a certain understanding, a certain same level between the one who's doing the good and the one who's accepting the good. They have to both realize exactly what's being done. They wouldn't even think there is such a place where you can go to get healed. Who knew? Never thought of such a thing. Is there somebody who, let's say, we build a whole hospital for all the animals in the wild, right? Then the animals know to come to get healed in this big building. They built a big building in the middle of the forest, right? And it's super high tech, and it's meant for all the animals. Are the animals coming to get healed if it tripped and it fell? This one had a heart attack. This one was attacked by a bear. Do they know that, hey, come, this is where we're going to heal you? They don't know that. Will the desire of the king come to fruition at all? There is no living creature, even if it's very, very sick, that will know to come to get from the goodness that the one who built this hospital wanted to give. Because they have no sheichus. There's no connection. There's no connection between the one who built this wonderful thing for the good of animal kind and animals themselves. And therefore, through the animals, you will not be able to see the goodness of the king. So if the king is doing something good, but he has to do something good for some people who understand that it's good. They have to appreciate it. We're doing something really good, and you have to understand that it's really good. If you don't understand that it's really good, you're not going to benefit from it. It's the same thing when it comes to regards to the Malchus Shamayim, Hashem's Malchus. That which HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called the King of the world, who rak mipnei shebemerkaz habriya nimsa adam sher olav ne'emar ki betzelem elokim asat adam. The only way we know that Hashem is the king of the universe is because right there in the center of creation is man. And man was created betzelem elokim, in the form of God, which means he has chokhmah. He means he understands. He understands what it means chesed. He understands what it means the goodness. He can recognize Hashem's goodness. He has a certain level of spirituality to it, much more than just an animal. An animal also has a certain level of spirituality, which is what keeps them alive. If they didn't have that spark of nefesh, they wouldn't be alive, right? They also breathe. They also have a certain life source, but they don't have any recognition at all of what's good for them. Now, to a certain degree, we know there's such a thing called Perek Shira, and the animals also sing Shira to Hashem but it's nothing compared to the real purpose of creation, which is man. Rashi there explains that when we talk about Tzelem Elokim, what it means is seichel. It means the mind. It means the ability to think and to understand, and that's something that only man has. And that is something spiritual. That's something elevated. That's what it means. It's an inyan Eloki, and now we can see that there's sheichus. There is a connection between the king and the people who he is a king over. There is some kind of connection. There is a level of spirituality that man has, a tzelem Elokim, that allows them to be connected to say, oh, our king, the king is a king over us, something Eloki, something that is spiritual, something that is higher, than not more than just physical. But the truth is, Rak Yisrael nikra Adam. Only the Jewish people are called Adam. Shomer Chazal, atem kurim Adam me'ein akum kurim Adam. It's very interesting. There's a halachic nafkamina to this. At least it's a machlokes there in the Gemara and the Yevamos. that only a Jew is called an Adam. There are many different words that are used to refer to human beings. Adam is not the only one. There's Ish, right? They refer to different things. The level of Adam, according to this opinion, I believe in the Tana over there, holds that the name Adam doesn't apply to the rest of mankind. It only applies to the Jewish people.
The Rishon wasn't Jewish.
Right? But there was a Tzelem. He certainly was created with the Tzelem Elokim. What happened was that it was lost to them. It was lost to the Goyim of the world. First, obviously, before Adam and Rishon was born, way before there was not Adam, Avram Avinu, before there was Avram Avinu. So there were many generations, right? There were 20 generations before we got from Adam and Rishon down to Avram Avinu. 20 generations. Adam and Rishon certainly was created with Tzelem Elokim. And that Tzelem Elokim was given over first to Hevel, but Hevel was killed, and then to Sheichus. And there was a concept, but it was lost by the Mabul. The whole world was destroyed. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was looking for a place for this to settle. And Avram Avinu was the one who was zeichet to it after another 10 generations after the Mabul. So that's why Atem Kurim Adam, only Klal Yisrael, again, according to this opinion. The halachic nafkamina that comes out of this is whether or not there's a din tumas oil by a goy. Because the pasuk says, Adam ki amus ba'oil. An Adam that dies in an oil has tumas oil, but not anybody. So according to that opinion, there is no tumas oil for a dead body of a goy. There is tumas maga. You touch a dead body, any dead body, even of a goy. We saw that in Parshas Matos, where they fought against Midian, and the people who were involved with the battle had to become tor. But tumas maga there is, but tumas oil not, because it's Adam. The pasuk says Adam. Lamaise, it's a certain level, a certain higher level of Tzelem Elokim. It's only by the Jewish people. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu alone is called the King of Yisrael. Really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the King of the world. But he's referred to as Melech Yisrael, Shirak Yisrael. There they have that connection. They have that similarity, that locus, that certain higher level of spirituality. Kadoshim to you, ki kodesh ani Hashem. Kadosh Baruch Hu is saying to Klal Yisrael, you have to be kadosh because I'm kadosh. If you're connected to me, we're shaykh, then we have to be similar. So just like I am higher and separated, again, in the past we mentioned that the concept of kadosh means separated and elevated. Really, it could even be that it just really means separated for something. In general, although it's not always like this, in general, it also means elevated. When we refer to kedusha, kadosh, we mean something that's separated and elevated. But technically, it could mean just separated. And there are different proofs for that. Lamaisa, when we're referring to it over here, Hashem is elevated, separated and elevated. So too, the Jewish people have to be separated and elevated. Viksiv v'halachta bidrachav. We know that we have a responsibility. One of the mitzvahs, an important mitzvah in the Torah, mitzvah, the shoresh, the root of all mitzvahs bein adam l'chaveiro, is the concept of halachta bidrachav, that we have to go in the ways of Hashem. Mahu rachum aftarachum. Just like He's merciful, we have to be merciful. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu did Bikar Cholim for Avram Avinu after the Bris Milah, we also have to do Bikar Cholim. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu did Levias Ameis, He buried Moshe Rabbeinu, so too we have to do that. We learn many of the halachos of and the mitzvahs of Ben Adam L'Chaveiro, of Gemilas Chasadim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself. And that's our responsibility. We have to be like Hashem. We have to have a unique connection to Hashem in order for Him to be our Melech. Rak al yodem yocholim kiviyachol koi choisav shel Hashem yisborach lavo min ha-koyach el ha-boyel. Therefore, it's only through Klal Yisrael that the powers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu can be seen in the world. That's where the powers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu can bring from potential to actual through the people. Because like we said, just like you can have a great benevolent king who wants to build hospitals for people and take care of people, the people don't appreciate it. They don't know what it is, and it's never going to come to fruition. Therefore, also, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give. Who is he giving to? Only those who can appreciate and know that they're getting the good. And that's us, that's Klal Yisrael. That's our responsibility to bring out HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. Ume'ata, now, starting Oy's based on Daf Kuf Ayin Hey. Me'ata le'inyan Shabbos Kodesh, Yos Shekol Ikar Mohusa Shabbos Hu Gilui Malchus Shamayim. Vashra Shechina Ba'olam, if the whole idea of Shabbos is to bring out, to reveal the Malchus, the kingdom of Hashem, and how he brings his Shechina into this world. Shomer Shabbos, and this comes about through Klal Yisrael who are keeping the Shabbos, who are guarding the Shabbos. Nimtza she'ikar ma'aseh Shabbos muchrachim she'eh al yedei asiyas b'nei Yisrael ma'aseh hamelech atzmo. Then it comes out that when Klal Yisrael is keeping the Shabbos, it has to be that they are doing the ma'asim, the deeds of the king himself. Shagili hamalchus hu rak al yedei of the hamelech. Because in order to bring, for the king to bring something out, is his servants that are doing that. They're bringing it out. That they are always there to do the work of their king. So that's our job. Our job is to bring out what the Melech wants. So that when we see that good and we appreciate that good, that is bringing out the desires of the king. And that's what our job is. That's what it means to be Shomer Shabbos. I'm going to talk about this a lot more as we move along. On the very first Shabbos, the Pasuk says that Hashem rested. Like we discussed what the idea of menucha, of recharging, going back to your source and recharging our real energy, our real batteries, which come from our life source, which is ruchni. That we're stopping our engagement in this world, and now we're going back within the world of holiness, of kedusha, and we get closer and closer. Meaning we get closer and closer, and we, to a certain degree, leave our world, our gashmistic world, and we're entering into a Kodesh Baruch Hu's world. When Klal Yisrael does this, they are resting from the Malchus of the world. They're leaving this world, the encampment of this world, and they're entering into a new place, Hashem's world. Tidgale al yodim, and by doing that, we can see through what Klal Yisrael is doing, Malchus Shamayim v'Ashar Shechina ba'olam. So really, just to say a little sikum of what we just said over here, is right, and this is the end of Ois Aleph of this parak, is that we on Shabbos, Klal Yisrael on Shabbos, is doing an incredible thing. We are coming to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu by connecting to Him and uplifting ourselves to show what is Hashem. Hashem wants to show Himself in this world. How does He do that? Through Klal Yisrael. How do we do it? We do it by connecting to Him, by following His lead, by doing the things that He did. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu has good midos, so too we have good midos. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu left the creation of this world. He finished the creation of this world. That's what we're doing on Shabbos as well. We're leaving creation. We're leaving this world and reconnecting to our spiritual source. We are resting. That's what it means to do on Shabbos. So we have to realize what we're doing is something incredible. Sometimes from the inside you can't see it. Sometimes it's only from the outside they can see that there's something amazing that's happening over here. Just like we mentioned that Moshe Rabbeinu he didn't even realize that the light was shining from his face. He didn't even know, but from the outside everybody saw it. So too, that's what we're doing on Shabbos. Obviously, the more that a person uses the Shabbos in a way that shows this connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it brings it out more. But L'maisa, that is the purpose of the rest on Shabbos. Again, it doesn't just mean just to sleep all day. That's not what it means. Although having a good nap is also. Shabbos is Rosh Hashanah, Shena b'Shabbos Ta'anug, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to have that. But that's not the essence of what it means to rest on Shabbos. The essence of what it means to rest is that we're copying HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're reflecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's really the sikum of everything that we said until this point in this parak, is that we are here to be the representatives of the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are the nation, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our king. So there has to be that connection, and that's what we have to do. And that's what we're fulfilling on Shabbos. So let's start. We have a few minutes. Let's start Ois Beis. I don't know if we'll finish it today, but let's start. So we just explained that in order for our king to have connection to his nation, there has to be things that are similar between them. Because only if they have this similarity do we have the ability to take out those midos that the king has and bring them to fruition. That's when we could say, oh, the king is here. We can say the king is here because we can see him. Do you know how we can see him? Through his people. We can see through his people that the king is here. I don't know in our door if we have really such a thing besides for a frum Jew who wants to keep Shabbos in that way. If there's a good example of this in the other nations of the world, although you could say that when the leaders of the world are anti-Semitic, then their people are also anti-Semitic, right? Maybe you could say something like that. Where do you see that the people and the king or the leader of that nation, the people are bringing out exactly what the desire of the king is? We see that in our democratic world. What you hear about is all the people who are anti. That's what you hear about. All the people who are protesting. All the people who are angry. That's what makes the news. That's what we see. That's what becomes very mufoursam. That's what you don't see. Right? What they say, the silent majority who agree and want to keep things, want to fulfill the desires of the leaders. That you don't see. That you don't hear about. I don't even know. Maybe it's not. But maybe because we don't have such a thing in the secular world, doesn't have such a thing anymore. Maybe. Amnam kan soich la'amoid hativ al ikar hanakuda hamuka v'chashuva. Now we need to talk about something that this is the main point, the something very, very the crux of this whole issue. Eina kavana shekayim hamalchus hu kasher yeh la'am midos kemidos hamelech. We don't mean to say that the Malchus, that the kingdom is going to be upheld when the people have the same midos as the Melech. Hainu shem atmom yichakmu v'yecholu ba midos hamelech ad shikru talmidei hamelech. It doesn't mean that the people have the exact same midos as the king and therefore they're like the talmidim of the king. It doesn't mean that. Ela kavana, what do we mean? Shal yidei sheyesh sheichim sheyechol behem v'yispegu el toicham malos hamelech ayidei ken yehem kimare v'chalon lirot darcham kavoid hamelech atzmo. This is a very deep idea. It's something that we're going to be talking about a lot more as we go through this whole chelek. And that is that we're not students of the king. Rather, we are supposed to be a mirror of the king. We're supposed to show what the king really is. It's supposed to be through us, just like a mirror reflects back what is opposite it. And therefore, if somebody can't see the mirror itself, but somebody can see what's opposite the mirror. So then they'll see that there's something reflecting, and they'll know what that thing is reflecting it through the reflection. That's the idea. Klal Yisrael is not supposed to be that we have something and we're talmidim and we got it and now it's ours and we're showing it because we got it from the king. That's not what this is. What it is all we are is a mirror. We are reflecting back, but it's really more than a mirror. Like we discussed in the beginning of this parak, it's more than we're just a mirror. Because a mirror only is something domem, only something that shows the inanimacy of something, right? The physical parameters of it. We're much more. We are bringing out also what's inside. What's inside the connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the koyach, in the potential and in the actual of what a person can actually accomplish and do. So that's what it means. I'll read it again over here. Because we were able to internalize those midos of the king, we are now a reflection of the king and a looking glass. In order to see through this, you can see the king. You can see the king himself. It means when a person's looking at the Jewish people, it's not just like, oh wow, the Jewish people have very good midos. No, it's the Jewish people are a reflection of Hashem. When you look at the Jewish people, you don't see the Jewish people. You see Hashem. That's what you see. That's really, to a certain degree, you take this as a very big responsibility. The tremendous responsibility over here. A person is supposed to look at the Jewish people and say, this is the nation of God, and therefore I can see God through this nation. But on the one hand, that means we have a tremendous responsibility. On the other hand, it has to be that really from ourselves we're nothing. Because if we are from ourselves something, so then it's going to be harder to see Hashem. We have to be such a pure, clean glass with no smudges on it that you can see very clearly this is Hashem. So on the one hand, there has to be a purification of our own midos, and on the other hand, we have to be so transparent. And really, the best dogma for this is Moshe Rabbeinu. Is that Moshe Rabbeinu was, on the one hand, purified himself to be on such a high level in Nevuah that it was through Moshe Rabbeinu that we received the Torah. But it's that point actually that makes it that Moshe himself was really nothing. What does that mean? He was nothing. All he was the conduit. That's all he was. He was the funnel that brought the Torah from Hashem to Klal Yisrael, to the point where Moshe Rabbeinu said, "I'm a nobody. All I am is just I'm a go-between. That's it. That's all I am." And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu said to Klal Yisrael, why do you, after they died, after the first two of the Aseret HaDibros, the first two commandments, Klal Yisrael died, and they came to Moshe Rabbeinu and they said, Moshe, we need to hear it from you. We can't hear it anymore from Hashem. I said, but wouldn't it be better just to hear it straight from the king? What do you need me for? What do you need me? I'm a nobody. Just hear it straight. Hear it directly. What do you need me for? Moshe Rabbeinu said about himself, what? I'm a nobody. Because that greatness was I'm just reflecting on Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's all I'm doing. Just reflect. I'm doing. And it's so clear that you can actually see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So on the one hand, it's a tremendous high level. On the other hand, we look at it as I'm so high that I'm mevatel myself completely to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because that's what the Jewish people are supposed to be. The world is supposed to see Hashem through the Jewish people. Okay, stop over here.
Thank you for joining Real Judaism, where we explore Torah's wisdom for real life. Created by J Foundations and produced by Eli Podcast Productions. Find more episodes at realjudaism.org and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.